Quiero contarle, mi hermano, un pedacito de la historia negra, de la historia nuestra, caballero. Y dice así. Dice. En los años 1600, cuando el tirano mandó, las calles de Cartagena, aquella historia vivió.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am here in Colombia for about 14 whole days. We're hitting Bogotá, Medellín, and then Cartagena. And I'm here with Amy Singh, and the rest of her family is also on this trip. It is a Singh family vacation, and one of the first ones I've been invited on, so it'll be pretty nice.
With a diastolic of like the
We landed in El Dorado Airport, which is the capital airport of Colombia. And I was very surprised at how much I liked the airport. It was well designed and was easy to get around. But coming out into Bogotá itself, the capital of Colombia, was pretty impressive. Very crowded city, 10 million people. It's a very cosmopolitan city at the same time. While there's a lot of high-end buildings and high-rises, there are also a lot of the old-style buildings. We spent some time down in the Old Town, and in particular we went to the Botero Museum, which is part of a 3-museum system that also includes the Mint Museum and the Central Art Museum. I was very impressed with the Botero Museum. It highlighted a lot of things that I didn't know about him, but also his collection of art from around the world, which included Picasso, Renoir, Chagall, and a few others that were just very impressive to see. The old town itself and the square with the cathedral was still lit up and set up for the holidays and Christmas, so it has a nice energetic vibe to it. We walked around a little bit and then headed to the Gold Museum. While the name gives it away a little bit that it has gold in it, it's really about the Incas' gold and what it was like in this environment, in this area a few hundred years ago. It was really impressive collection of what they have, and while we didn't see much of the museum on our first time there, several of us went back to see it again. Overall, I've really been enjoying the food in Bogotá and in Colombia in general, but in Bogotá there was just a nice feeling. We did a street graffiti tour, which gave us a lot more information about the art and the artists and how things have developed in Bogotá. What was neat is to see how it transformed from where graffiti was just a bad thing and it was illegal, and of all people to change that in Colombia was Justin Bieber, because he got out of his car and tagged the wall. And no one got in trouble for it, while just a few years before that, a teenager did the same thing and he was shot and killed. So it was really interesting to see and learn how just one little thing like that can change the environment. You can say that Justin Bieber did it, and it really changed the mentality of the people in Bogotá. Walking the streets of Bogotá felt very comfortable. There was always thoughts about what it was like just a mere 20 years ago. and what crime was like. You can still see the remnants of chain fences and ironworks on doors and windows, but it felt very comfortable and easy to get around. The transportation system, they don't have a subway, they have a bus system that has dedicated bus lines in the major roads, and that works really well. It was great to see how that system works. Taxis were really easy to use, as well as Ubers, reasonable, extremely reasonable. But most of all, I really enjoyed some of the local foods, and then one evening we went out and we had a delicious steak dinner, and everything was well prepared. The wine was good, the environment was amazing in terms of the ambiance and the people we were with. I didn't get enough dessert, and certainly don't get enough of these. So overall, I would definitely go back and spend more time in Bogotá. I would like to, because I felt as though I just saw maybe 3 or 5% of the city, and there was just so much more to see and do.
This is my puddle.
Whoa!
Oh, they're gonna fight. Oh my god, they're gonna fight. He pecked him. He pecked him.
Well, today I was surprised with our paragliding trip. We're now at 8,000 feet, actually 7990. I can feel it a little bit. It's a bit overcast, but down below in Medellín, it's only about 5,000 feet and it's clear. Everybody here is waiting for the sun to come out so we can get some uplift and some updraft. And there goes the first person. And they're off, and they've got some uplift going.
Wow.
That is pretty cool. And yeah, it's really crowded, a lot more people than I thought, but in a way that's good, because a lot of people are still doing it. It's warmer than I thought it was going to be today, so that is also nice. And I'm really excited to see how we do this, because they say we land back in the same spot, so somehow we get more elevation to come back and land, so that'll be great.
Yep, it was very good. A little scary, but... Oh. Nice.
We stayed in Medellín for the few days before and after New Year's and had a really nice time. Ashton and I were there together a little under 5 years ago with a group of our friends, so it was exciting to think about returning with our family. But I was very surprised to find a completely different feeling place than we had left it. Although it was still beautiful, it was so incredibly crowded. We revisited most of the places that we had been before, including Comuna 13, which was once a very low-class neighborhood that was considered very dangerous for tourists. And they kind of revitalized the area by putting in a lot of street art and starting to operate some tours. When we were there last time, we were essentially the only people there, and it was, as I just said, basically a street art tour. Well, this time it was basically Disneyland. There were amusement rides. There were bars all over the place where you could get drinks to go. There were photo spots. There were all different types of merchants. And unfortunately, almost all of this development covered up the beautiful art that was once there. So it's just really interesting, different, shocking experience.
My name is Gabrielle, and we're doing a coffee tour today. Wow!
My sister Erin booked us a really awesome tour for New Year's Day where we went to a local coffee farm and essentially paid to work for the day because they gave us outfits, had us pick coffee, grind coffee, showed us how they dried and processed it, and then we got to taste the coffee beans prepared with all different machines, which was really interesting because the same coffee ended up tasting really differently based on how it was prepared. And then we had a really nice lunch afterwards, just overlooking the forest and watching the clouds roll in.
This is the coffee that we just watched being made. It's nice and warm. It's a little cold out. It's not necessarily bitter, but it's a little sour. It's very smooth. I wouldn't really say it has notes of caramel or chocolate. It's fruity. I don't like it.
Where are we?
You're the paparazzi in Cartagena.
We're in Cartagena. Woo!
So we're wrapping up our week here in Cartagena. Amy and I have been alone now for about 3.5 days. Her family left on Monday, and we spent a few days here with them. But in terms of what we've done, we've walked around the walled city a lot. We've eaten out basically every single day. And one thing I will say about the city here is that they have really good and amazing cheap food, especially the seafood. So that's been really good. I would kind of compare the city a little bit to Miami, but not as exorbitantly expensive. And I honestly think if you're coming from New York or somewhere, then it's probably cheaper to come all the way to Colombia than to go to Miami instead. I think for the Ubers, we've just been spending about like $2 per Uber each way we go. And, you know, we've been having a pretty good time. Been walked out to the beach, went to on a run a few times, and it's been pretty enjoyable. This is our second time we've been here, Amy and I. The first time we came, we did more of the touristy stuff, like visit the Rosario Islands. And those beaches, from what I remember, are very beautiful. But the beaches surrounding Cartagena are okay, but I think Florida has better beaches, but maybe I'm a bit biased there. But yeah, we've had a great time here and heading on to wherever's next.